Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session on how to write your personal statement. So in this session, I'm going to talk a bit more about the significance of the personal statement to the application process as a whole. And I'm also going to give a few tips on how to write a good and effective personal statement essay. So without further ado, let me begin by introducing who I am first. So my name is Urjo Okoskalala, and I am a KGSP 2015 grantee, now known as the GKS Scholarship. I did my Korean language study at Peche University in Daejeon, and I finished my Master of International Studies in International Relations degree at Sogang University in Seoul. So I'd like to start this discussion by asking a very fundamental question. Why is the personal statement important? The answers are honestly quite obvious. One, it's your chance to express who you are. Two, you're giving a clear view to the person evaluating your essay on your background and motivation. And three, this is the most important, I think, it is a perfect platform to make you stand out. So in my own personal opinion, they look at four main things when they receive your essays. When they receive your applications. One would be your grades. Two would be any of the supporting documents that you give, such as certificates of workshops you've attended. A third would be your study plan, because they want to know you are capable of doing something that's research-based, a degree that is research-based. And four would be this personal statement. So why is personal statement important? Because out of 100 or even maybe thousands of applications that they receive, you need to find a way to stand out, to set yourself apart, to distinguish yourself. Um, because at the end of the day, they're going to only remember a couple of you, a few of you, and you need to be one of those people who are memorable. So let me ask the question, why would you like to pursue a degree in South Korea? We all have our different reasons. Maybe your reason is you just simply want to try studying abroad, which was actually my main reason. I just wanted to have the experience of studying abroad. Maybe you are enamored by the educational system in Korea. You know, some of the universities there are the best in, not Asia, the world, some of the best in the world. Maybe you are interested in the technology, fascinated by the internet speed of Korea. Uh, Perhaps the most famous reason why many of us, or when many of you are applying, is because you are into Hallyu or the Korean wave. It's undeniable, the popularity of K-pop, K-drama, K-movies nowadays. Or maybe you just want to explore the other different facets of Korean culture. So again, we all have our own different reasons. Whatever the reason you have, it's totally fine. You do you, whatever you're happy with. But at the end of the day, what they're looking for is someone whose motivation should be rooted on wanting to pursue and earn a degree and to somehow use that degree to advance themselves later in life through a career or maybe to seek further education abroad. So again, your motivation should be rooted on the fact that you want to earn a degree. Again, this is a academic scholarship, and that's what you should be thinking about when you make your personal statement. So some writing tips. I know this is very basic, but the first one is follow the guidelines. I've heard a lot of stories of people who actually don't, and that does not work in their favor later on. Because I think by following the guidelines, it already shows the people who review your essays if you're actually able to do something that's very basic. So let's go through the instructions together very briefly. So type in Korean or English. The essay must be single spaced within 2 pages. So let's put emphasis on the text in bold, 2 pages, within 2 pages. They do this because I've heard that in the past, sometimes people go beyond 2 pages and for them, it's almost an automatic, oh, they didn't follow instructions, let's not read this. So please make sure that you follow the instructions. The font should be Times New Roman, size 11. Uh, it should cover the 5 points below, which I will say later. And once you're done, you can actually remove all of this text from the part where you write your essay. So what do you need? You need to talk about your motivation for applying, your educational background, any significant experiences you've had, any extracurricular activities. So this could be a club that you're a part of, a volunteer experience you've been doing, or your professional work at, what you're doing now in your career. And if it's applicable, you can also talk about any rewards you've received, any research that you've done, or publications that you've made. So because you only have 2 pages, please make sure to use the space that you've been given efficiently and wisely. Okay, that goes without saying. Try to go and cover all these 5 topics, and make sure that the essay you write flows nicely. Okay, structure is very important here. You don't want to confuse the reader. As much as possible, what I would suggest is try to do things point by point, from point to point. So let me give you an example of how I actually wrote my own essay. So I structured it in a way that made it easy to read. So again, it has to have a flow. I just started with introducing who I was, and then I moved on to my own background, on my own life experiences, my own professional and educational background, my achievements, which led to the next 2 points. What do you want to study? Well, what did I want to study? What degree I wanted to study in Korea? Why did I want to pursue that? And why did I want to study in Korea? So this was a bit of a challenge for me because my bachelor's was in mass communications, and I wanted to shift to international relations, which is not particularly related to each other. So the personal statement was my chance at explaining why I wanted to shift from one thing to another, and I used a lot of experience, a lot of examples under the background section to talk about the different things I did outside of my bachelor's degree and how I could prove that, okay, this is what I am committed to doing now in the field of international relations. So tip 2, write it well. Again, this goes without saying. Make sure that you read your essay, if not 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Just keep reading, editing, and revising things that you don't feel, maybe it doesn't sound right, or maybe a word doesn't fit too well within an essay. If there are things that you think are repetitive, remove them. So look out for any grammatical mistakes or wrong use of vocabulary. Sometimes we don't think too much about this, but I really recommend that you ask someone to proofread your essay, because I think constructive criticism is really pivotal and important, because a lot of times you don't actually realize things that may not be very good, be very well stated in your essay, that maybe somebody else can actually point out to you. And so that's actually what I did. I asked a friend to read my essay, and she was actually able to point out certain things that I didn't really think of very well. She even pointed out some grammatical mistakes that, maybe I was too caught up in certain things that I didn't even notice that. So it's really, really important to ask somebody to help read it for you. At the end of this, your end goal is to make sure that you're using easy to understand language. So you don't need to really use highfalutin words. Don't try to impress them too much with your language. Make it easy to understand, but the content needs to be meaningful. And if you do that, I think you'll end up with a very good essay. Tip 3. This is kind of the meat and potatoes of the whole discussion. You need to set yourself apart. So tell them who you are. What are your hopes, your dreams, ambitions? Let them know where your heart is. A good thing that you could include here is what you would like to do after getting your degree in Korea. What is your vision for your career in the future. So I actually included some text in red. So you'll see some text in red later on. These are real life examples of people who got into the GKS scholarship, successful applicants, and these are part of their the personal statements that they wrote. So for this person, they wrote that they had their heart set out in pursuing a career in social change and social welfare. So let them know what you want to do in the future. How have your experiences shaped you? So I feel like the most effective way for people to be engaged with what you write is to tell them a story. Because it creates an emotional connection to you. Yeah. So this person wrote, I wasn't able to qualify for a BA journalism, but that didn't dishearten me. Instead, I decided to take a different path. So this is when you can do something na parang maala-ala mo kaya. Try to connect, try to make an emotional connection to your reader. Again, kind of related again to that, this is your chance to show your creative side. So if you are somebody who likes writing, this is the best chance for you to kind of show your prowess in writing. If not, maybe you could just add a quote, a philosophical statement, and kind of use that as a means to talk more about your motivation, your own life experiences. And again, I will repeat this so many times. You have to make yourself memorable. Because again, at the end of the day, they're going to be receiving hundreds of essays and applications on their desks. They're only going to be able to receive and accept a couple of essays. So you need to know how to sell yourself. You have how to distinguish yourself from the rest. So when I wrote my essay, I said that I am a Zambian raised third culture kid represent Filipino boy who grew up in the mountains with a penchant for all things Southeast Asian. So all of these things kind of I guess mesh together and create a better persona of who I am. So it kind of, it sticks to them. Oh yeah, this is the guy who lived in Zambia. He is the guy who lives in the mountains. So you have to make sure that you are memorable. Number 4 is be your own advocate. So what do I mean by that? This is a chance for you to sell yourself, to promote yourself. So it's now the right time for you to talk about your achievements and what you've done in life. Okay. It's also really important though to know how to present these things. So I put this in red because this is a thing that a lot of people get wrong. A lot of times when they think, okay, I need to show them that I'm capable, that I've done a lot in life, they end up making lists or they end up sounding really airy, like they're bragging. So don't do something like this. Don't be like, oh, I am intelligent. I am a diligent student leader. I studied in the best school in my country and I did this. And as you can see, it's kind of just a list of things that they've been a part of. Honestly, I don't think people would be interested. That doesn't catch their attention. They'll just be like, oh, I'm skimming through this. It doesn't really interest me. Again, know how to present these achievements that you've done. I would say that it would be best to do it in such a way that you also include things that you've learned from these things, from these achievements, maybe skills that you've learned or important values you've learned. So I think this is actually a better example of what you can say. It doesn't come off as braggy, and you're not making a list. So this person wrote, I've been part of these organizations. I learned the value of leadership and initiative. So, there's a bit of a humble quality to the writing. And then he goes on to say, in both efforts, I was able to spearhead important projects in. So again, as I said, it is also how you present what you've done. And this person talked about what they've done and what they've learned from what they've done. Number 5 is expound on your desired degree. So talk about your previous experiences in the academia and cite any specific expertise or interest that you have. It's your best time to show your knowledge in the field. So if you've done any research work in the past, or if you made any publications related to the degree that you want to pursue in Korea, now is the best chance for you to do so. In my case, again, I was shifting from mass comm to international relations. So I had to talk about my previous experiences, the workshops that I've done, the forums, programs that were more related and leaning towards international relations. So I had to also talk about why I was interested in pursuing this specific degree. So what do you hope to achieve from getting this degree in Korea? Maybe doing this degree would open up opportunities for you in maybe your career, because maybe in Korea they have a lot of job opportunities for this degree. So try to also talk about where you see yourself post degree, after you get the degree. Number 6 is why Korea? So I think a lot of times we actually don't remember. A lot of times I've noticed essays don't really tackle this question, but I think it's really important that you do. So why do you want to study in Korea? What does Korea have that other countries don't? So perhaps there is a special degree in Korea that they don't really offer in other countries. Or maybe there is a lab or research or a professor who's currently doing some current research that they're doing that is something that you're interested in and you'd like to also be part of, and you'd like to pursue that. Maybe it's just because, again, there are a lot of prestigious schools in Korea and you want to experience being part of that university life. Or maybe, again, academic competitiveness. So this is from my own essay. I wrote about my specific interest in ASEAN and Korea bilateral relations and development aid, and which is why I wanted to also pursue something in international relations. And if you still have some extra space, you could also talk about other benefits of studying in Korea. So maybe you could talk about how learning Korean is beneficial to the degree that you're taking. So anything that you think could add to why studying in Korea specifically would benefit you. So that's pretty much it. We'll be having a short question and answer portion after this, I think. So I'll be around. So please feel free to ask me any questions that you might have, and I'll do my best to answer any of the questions you have. I wish you all the best of luck, and I hope you get in. And to those who do get in, I wish you a wonderful life in Korea. Thank you, everyone.